what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Set Your Wire, a.k.a. Coach Bird, and I'm the host of the BYRDCAGE Show. Cousin Tracy, we are back at it once again. Episode 61, you know what I'm saying? Episode 61. Again, I know we usually say this for the end, but, you know, for all our guys that, you know, watch and view and comment and text and everything else, again, we just appreciate you guys, because without you guys, there is none of this. You know what I'm saying? We got a special guest in the cage today. You know what I'm saying? If you guys saw episode, I think that was 58, where we talked about the whole situation with the articles coming from NJ.com and you know, how they were just trying to tear down and take away from what our boys over at Camden High accomplished this basketball season. My man, you know what I mean? He felt, you know, with his platform to write a rebuttal article, and it was very good. So if you haven't read it, please go back and read it. But today, in the cage, we have DELGRECO WILSON in the cage, and we appreciate you for sliding through, taking a little bit of time out your day just to, you know what I mean, say your piece. Before we get all into, you know, some of the things I just mentioned, why don't you just say what's up to the viewers real quick?
Well, how's everybody doing? It's really my pleasure, and then I'll be quite honest with you. If Tracy Hall asks me to walk to the moon, I'll come and I'll try to walk to the moon. So it's really that simple.
Appreciate it.
That's what's up. That's definitely what's up. Definitely what's up. So today we're just going to talk about how, you know, some media outlets, you know what I'm saying, cover or how they view South Jersey high school sports, more in particular how they view the High and Wilson and, you know, these
Camden and the lack of coverage.
And the lack of coverage.
Like proper coverage, I should say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we just want to talk about those things a little bit, you know what I'm saying, while we have your time and whatnot. So before we actually get all into all of that, you know what I'm saying, for those that don't know you, why don't you just tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
Well,
A little background.
I guess I'm a hoop junkie. You know, I played in high school, played in college a little bit. And as I got a little older, a lot of my friends became basketball coaches. You know, Bruiser Flint got on at UMass. He became, I think he was 28, 29 when he was named head coach at UMass. And I had Todd Bozeman out at University of California with Jason Kidd and Abdul Sharif. So these are guys, you know, I've known these guys a long, long time. So when they hit it, and they became head coaches, we would talk a lot. And one of the real issues they were always finding was that a lot of the really talented kids, especially kids from our area, Camden, Philadelphia, North Jersey, Delaware, Baltimore, a lot of these kids were super, super talented, but the academic background was prohibitive when it comes to them accepting the scholarships and the financial aid. So what I started to do for a couple of those kids that they had in particular, they said, why don't you just see if you can help this kid meet these guys? Right. Some of the first kids that I ever worked with, like Mark Bass, he coaches at Trenton Catholic now. He played at St. Joe's. The late Eddie Griffin, when he was at Roman. So we going back now 30 years, you know, of just trying to help kids, you know, who are right there. You know, there's no question about the talent. Right. But you just need sometimes the academic, the social, the emotional stuff, you know. So I would try to grab kids and just say, man, you know, talking about a lot of money here, son. Life-changing opportunities. I need you to just, you know, buckle up and let's get over the line. So I've been helping a lot of kids get over that line. And that's really something I'm really proud of. And a lot of the kids I still talk to, you know, if not every day, you know, once a week, they drop me a call, and when I run into them. So that's how I kind of got into it. But the writing it's been 9 years with the Black Cager format. What I discovered, which you kind of just alluding to, is that a lot of the mainstream publications, they present themselves as if, you know, we're journalists, you know, we're objective, we're here, we're not choosing sides, we're just trying to report the facts. And as I paid attention to it, especially with regard to sports, I realized that there's no such thing as objectivity in the media. When you make a decision as to what to cover, that's a choice. You know, You can cover Camden Catholic
Right.
or you can cover
Okay,
Camden.
right,
It's a decision. So when you say you're being objective, you know, there are always decisions behind every move you make.
Right.
So I realized that there was room for someone that was unencumbered by sponsorships and paychecks. Someone that could just, you know, that had the wherewithal. You know, I know I can write a little bit.
Like you were freelance. So
Absolutely.
you don't have to answer to nobody.
I'm the editor.
Got you.
I'm the writer.
Got you.
I'm the publisher.
Sounds like us.
That's why we've seen the F-bombs
Right.
in a couple of the articles.
And
I'm just messing with you.
But I do that, you know, and quite honestly, I want to attract younger people. And if you notice, I do. I slide a lot of F-bombs in there. Maybe sometime even an MF bomb. But it's always within a context where if you're reading, you're like, hey, this guy.
And not only that, it exuberates your passion
and it
for
grabs them young boys' attention. When they
Right.
come up to me, they yo, I had to use it.
Now, where are you from? Where are you from?
I'm from Darby Township,
Okay,
Pennsylvania.
okay.
I just left there to come here.
Okay.
It's right over by the Philadelphia airport.
Okay. Okay.
So what made you come here? Like, why Camden?
I started working in Camden in 2005. I'm sure a guy you all know, Tyrone Pitts.
Yep.
I met Tyrone Pitts. I had a little project dealing with youth over in Philadelphia. And I'll be honest, we were bootstrapping. I had a little house in North Philly, and we were doing it after school. We were helping kids. I had kids coming through. And Tyrone saw what we were doing. He said, yo, man, if you come over to Camden, we could do this a lot bigger. And at first, you know, people say stuff like that. And, you know, and then, you know, I realized, you know, he really can make this happen. And, you know, Tyrone has access to a lot of resources and everything.
Yeah,
So we came over and we hit the ground running. And I mean, and we were working with Camden Public Schools from 2005 to 2012. We had after school programming. We were competing against the current mayor. And we became really good competitors and friends during that process. But that was a good run, and that's how I really got introduced to Camden and Camden Public School.
That was like the Arline Institute or something?
That's exactly what that was.
Arline Institute.
Okay. That's what's up. Now, when you decided to create the Black Cajun, you know what I'm saying? And what made you come up with the idea? Just the lack of what mainstream media was doing?
Honestly, a friend of mine, he's still working today. He has a little basketball website, and he covers it. And I wrote a piece. And again, I mean, I'm a modest guy, but I can read, I can write. So I know my stuff is just as good as this stuff, if not better. So I gave it to him. I said, yo, man, run this for me. So he read it, and he called me back. He said, Del, I just can't run your stuff. And I said, well, why? He said, well, what we do is journalism. He threw that at me. He said, you're an advocate. You know, you kind of take sides, and I don't want to, you know, a lot of sports writers, they enjoy the access. You know, I say things that'll get me banned from locker rooms, from schools, from, you know, and those guys don't want to step on those landmines. So that's what got me into it. Just I saw a real need for someone to just speak their own truth without real fear of real consequence. You know, I'm not gonna lose no job. I might lose a couple friends.
Right. But all right, I got you. So hey, let's get into it. You know what I'm saying? Like Tracy said, off air. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Wilson, hot topic right now, which is a good thing though, because you know what I'm saying.
It's your rebuttals.
It's your
rebuttals.
Cause, you know what I'm saying?
For
and it needed because nobody was saying it.
Nobody was following up with the shots that was fired. Like it was shots fired. Let's be clear. You know, for those that didn't watch episode 58, there were some shots fired in reference to.
You can see the articles there. I believe you have the link to the articles on the Black Cajun, so you can go back and check it all out if you don't know what we're talking about.
It was some shots fired in reference to Camden High strategically building a squad to take a championship, and they're basically bringing kids from outside of the community to build this basketball powerhouse. This national ranked basketball squad but it's not for kids from the community because our community don't have those type of kids to offer. That's basically in a nutshell what the article said. And then more importantly, the article stated, why would parents bring their kids to this community when there's boarded up houses, gunshots, violent crime, you know, why would these parents bring their kids to this environment just for a championship? So it was a shot. Shots was fired. More importantly, to get an overview of what was said, feel free to NJ.com. The article is there. Or Black Cager, he posted it as well. Check it out. Episode 58. So, why did you feel impelled to do a rebuttal? 1. 2, what is your connection with the high? And how did that all come about?
Well, I actually just came across it. I'm home, I'm on the internet. I don't read NewJersey.com a lot, but you know, I read Courier Post. I think they do a decent job covering high school sports. And I came across that article and I read it. No one had sent it to me. I just stumbled upon it. And I'm reading it and I said to myself, I don't know Kevin Armstrong, the guy who spent 6 months investigating. He spent 6 months. And I'm reading it and I said, you know what? This is really a personal attack. And you know, I know Wani, we're not the best of friends, but I know Wani really well, and he's always been very respectful to me. I'm a huge fan of his father, and I'm a big fan of Wani himself, and even DJ. And so I saw this guy really trying to, in my opinion, smear the family name and smear the name of the Camden Panther basketball program, and it felt personal. It just felt that it was coming from somewhere where they won't say what that's really about. So when you guys refer to them boarded up and derelict houses, you know, and then you know the stuff about the stepfather. I went back and looked it up. I'm like, this is 18 years ago, and this is his stepfather.
Exactly.
And DJ's what, 16 years old? What are we talking about here? So it just really, really touched me in a way that I felt it needed to be addressed, and I felt it needed to be addressed in a very forceful manner. And again, I knew that no one else would do it. I knew it. I mean, you could sit around. We be still sitting around reading. And so, you know, no one asked me to do it. I don't do things when people ask me. You gotta, you know, because I'll stay up all night writing, thinking. I got to be inspired. And that one, because I said, I got this guy. He doesn't know. And the pleasure I get out of it is writing it. And I'm sitting there writing. I said, mine is better than his. So
I agree.
so I couldn't wait. And I actually sent it to him via Twitter. I tagged NJ.com and all that. Of course, no response. But you know, I want y'all to know it's just, you can't come down here and just do drive-bys on this community and just go drive back up North Jersey and think it's okay.
So what is your connection with? Do you have any type of connection with the Highs basketball squad? Like, what is?
Well, I have a connection with you. And
there it is.
That's the
only connection you need.
I have a connection with you. We shared a real common interest and an affinity for Taquan Woodley. I met Taquan. He was in the 8th grade, and it was just something about the way he played, to be quite frank, because you know Taquan is not a pretty player. He don't care about how it looks.
You know what I'm saying?
He want to get it done, and he wants to win. And I met him at Charles Monroe over in Philly. He has these middle school classics, and Taquan was just so relentless. And I said, "Yo, man, who are you?" You know, Taquan Willie. Where you live at? Camden. I said, "Man, I have an office in Camden. I'm going to stay in touch with you. I want to see you." So he pops up at Newman Goretti in Philly. So I followed him all that year. I'm like, yo, you got a chance to be. But, you know, if you're looking for someone who is aesthetically pleasing, you know, you want them to glide in. That's not your thing. If you want somebody that's trying to win a basketball game, and that's why I really, so when he decided to come home, and Jerome Brewer decided to return home. And I know Jerome Brewer is another kid that I'm really, really close to. And I was also a big fan of Miles Thompson. I really just enjoyed the way he played. I knew he was a Division I basketball player. I dragged a couple of Division I coaches in to see him when he was in high school. He had a cousin named Gary. Gary has since passed on. And I told Gary, I said, I think your cousin's going to be he's a Division I player. We'll figure it out. I don't know where. Right. I don't know how.
Right.
And before Miles, one of my favorite players was Aaron Walton Miles.
My son.
I just
shout out to D-Block.
D-Block. It's my son.
And all the time, Aaron will tell you, he would post sometimes his stats from overseas and stuff, and I would always just respond, Oscar stats, because it's always like 20 points, 15 rebounds, 13 assists. Like, boy. So I've just been really a fan of what Camden basketball has been able to achieve over the years, and I agree with what Tracy was saying, that the recent re-emergence on the national stage has been upsetting to a lot of regional people. The national people, they remember Camden, so they're not surprised. But the regional people thought they had did it in. It was over.
It was over.
So here it comes back. Lance comes from Burlington. Taquan comes back from the Catholic League. Jerome Brewer comes back from the Catholic League, and all the other young fellas who come from the surrounding counties. People were just really wondering how and why. But it made sense to me because they made a fantastic hire when they brought Coach Brunson in. I mean, if you watch his son play, you realize that it's just like, again, I appreciate that. I don't need to see 8 crossovers. Let's get it done.
Let's just get it done.
And Jalen Brunson gets it done.
He does.
And so they brought DJ along very much on that same path. And when you watch the youngest Wagner play, what I noticed right away, 9th, 10th grade, the shot was, you could see the offensive ability, but some nights he just wouldn't make it. But every single night he was in somebody's face, defending, rebounding, stealing, trying to win the game. And I was just really blown away, and I gave a lot of that credit to Coach Brunson. So am I involved with Camden basketball? I'm involved with a couple of the players, Taquan, Jerome. I don't really hang around the team too much, because I'm so outspoken. Some people appreciate it. Others get a little bit
intimidated by
it. They don't know.
So I'm gonna speak on that, and I'm gonna use this platform to speak on it. I met DELGRECO about 3 years ago when Taquan started living with me. DELGRECO, I'm all about energy, and we all know that. Anybody know me know I deal with energy, and I'm for anybody that's really about the kids. Del had really showed me that he didn't benefit from helping Taquan, but he wanted to help Taquan. It was an all hands on deck situation with Mr. Woodley. My family knows, my family's aware. It was all hands on deck, and Del was one of the hands that was on deck. But I was told behind the scenes that I needed to be leery of Del because he has to be getting compensated for going out of his way to help these kids. So I told the person, I made it very clear, first of all, I ain't no fucking clown or no fool. I've been in this athletic thing a lot of years, mainly with football, but I know what I know, and I know who people are. So with myself and Del, we made sure Taquan really honed in on his grades. And he said, the bottom line is, nobody never asked about grades from me or how I was doing in school, no one, until I got involved with Tracy and Rick, till I moved into Tracy's. No one ever asked me at no point how was school. And the thing about it is Greco talks about it all the time because he wants me to be more involved in getting kids to make sure they're clearinghouse eligible, make sure their grade, the average. He works out the numbers for me so I can figure out. But I stay in my lane, right? Because at the end of the day, we talk about it all the time. A lot of people are worried about these kids playing for these 4 years, worrying about local championships, but they're not really worried about getting them to the next level. And it's just a sad state of affairs because, a lot of parents put their trust in the system and these coaches, and the system ain't really designed to make sure all kids find a place. The system is designed to make sure certain kids find a place. and it shouldn't be because it's a lot of schools out there. It's a lot of schools, a lot of D2 schools that pay for subpar talent. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even say subpar, but you know what I mean? Who's not your top tier. But D2 pays full. But we get our kids so into the thought process of D1. Or it ain't nothing, D1 or bust. Then, even in a situation like myself, my son dropped all the way down to D3, and I still ain't pay a dime. You know what I mean? If they want you, they want you. Then where you play is how you play. But the thing is, Del is one of them guys that want to make sure he finds a spot for everybody, especially if he's involved with you. He wants to find you a spot. But like
Taquan was no different. And what's amazing to hear that people thought, like, everybody don't appreciate Taquan. Taquan averaged like 3 points a game, as it seemed.
But he was a role player.
He was I mean, he was done. He knew he was Division I. He wanted to win. The team was so powerful that they didn't need Taquan. He was more or less the spiritual leader. And he gained I tell him he gained about 40 pounds that year. He wasn't even running.
Well, it was the consistency of the meals. And, because, see, although I'm a busy woman, I cook. My family tell you about cook. So it was the consistency of the meals.
I actually had someone asked me, they said, well, why did you take him on a visit to Penn State? So I said, well, I checked. I asked him. He doesn't have a car.
Right.
So I have a car. He doesn't have a car. The coaches are willing to host him and show him around. If I was in high school and my parents couldn't get me there, I would hope that someone would come in and say, come on, man, I got you.
Right.
And we had a great visit. He ended up committing to Penn State, and the coach got fired, and he had to regroup. But if we think about his offers, the Penn State offer, that was kind of out of the blue. He was getting recruited by like Manhattan, some smaller school. You had to appreciate Taquan. So I knew some college coaches that would appreciate what he brings. And Pat Chambers was number one. And I knew Taquan had told me he wanted to play in the Big Ten. So I said, you know what? We can figure this out. I got Pat to come to the Roman Catholic game. And we sat on the baseline and we watched him. I said, now you watch this. He's the only guy in this area that I would let play Jalen Duren and play behind him. He don't need no help. He don't need no double. And you watch. Let's see. I'm betting on my guy. Now, Jalen is just a fantastic athlete. He doesn't get tired. Taquan would get gassed. And when Taquan came out the game, Jalen dunked like 4 or 5 times. You got to get Quan back in to hold him down. But at the end of the game, Pat said, I'm offering him a scholarship. I said, thank you. And that's how that happened. And then when it fell apart, Taquan was scared. He was like, do you think I'll get another scholarship? I said, Quan, you'll get another scholarship.
His name was on the board at that point. His name was on the board. He was up. And that's what I told him, it's about conversations. And we basically, because at some point he said he never thought about college.
Yes.
He said that. He sat in my living room. He was walking up the steps, and I said, did you think that you was going to be here? He said, I never thought about college. College wasn't a thing that I would ever think about. He said, now it's here.
Now I'm on it.
Now I'm on it. Now he know I got choices. But my thing is, and like I said, I wanted to use this platform to say Del's a great guy. We've developed a bond because of Taquan. I'm thankful for the friendship, but more importantly, I know he really means well for these kids. You know what I mean? And people gonna talk, people gonna say what they want.
They don't understand.
Right.
Because they really not for the kids.
They're not for the kids.
But they really not for the kids. And we talk about that all the time. They really not for the kids.
And they think everybody is always has this
agenda.
Like,
because most of them do.
Right.
Like, here's the thing. I would never run down names, but I can name a list of guys that's from college, NFL. I don't ask for a ticket or go to no game. When I go, it's because I go. I don't ask for nothing, but most people ask. Most people do stuff because they want. Most people don't do things because it's in the kindness of their heart. They do it because they want the picture, the photo op, or to be at the game, or you know what I mean?
You guys should know, but doing this podcast right here, you said it's up to episode 61. There's not a college game within 100 miles of here that you guys couldn't go to for free, and they feed you when you get a media pass. I don't need tickets from the kids.
Right.
I don't. There's no any game anywhere.
Right,
I can go
true.
from the Sixers all the way down to some middle school game. If I pay for the tickets because I like the cause and I just want to donate. So there's really nothing. People don't understand.
They don't understand that.
Yes.
They just don't know. And that's one of the things when I was reading your bio, when you were just talking about educating the parents on the clearinghouse and all that. Like, I coach 3 different sports, and we definitely try to make sure we hold a meeting now. A lot of times parents don't come for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you can lead a horse to water, you know how the saying goes, but we try to explain that clearinghouse situation. We pass out the scale of if your SAT or if your grade point average is this is what your SAT score needs to be. You know what I'm saying? We try to let them know that you need to start taking care of this type of stuff and being up on this stuff as your son or daughter is coming in as a freshman. You know what I'm saying? A lot of parents wait till their senior year, and then it's like, Coach Bird, what can we do to, well, you should have had this conversation 3 years ago, but let's see if we can work something out. You know
That's kind of like everywhere. What I think is unique to Camden and Philadelphia is kids who are 14 years old are able to go on a football field and compete against 18, 19-year-olds and make all region or all county. So you're a 4-year football starter.
Right. True.
You 10th grade, you're all state, and then 12th grade, we struggling to get you eligible. That is criminal.
Right.
Because to me, if a kid is starting varsity in 9th, 10th grade, there's a real shot. And Tracy brought up Division III. D1, D2, D3, somebody's going to want you. If you can get out there at 14,
14, 15,
and play against 18, 19-year-olds,
and you're doing your thing.
By the time you're 18, 19,
you should be, that should be already done.
And so those are the kids I think we really got to grab.
I got you.
Because and the other part of it is, you could, like you say, you try to lead parents to it. I come into it understanding that some kids come from foster group home situations. Some kids have moms, dads with chemical dependence issues.
True.
Some kids got dads that's locked up,
True.
What I try to do, I don't judge none of that, Dad. You get in the car with me, let's go, man. That has nothing to do with anything that we're talking about with this kid right now. That kind of really bugged me what they did with DJ, because it was like his step grandpa. Y'all going
Did you just hear what you just said?
Right.
Step grandpa. What the fuck is that?
His step grandpa. It's Ronnie's stepfather.
Right. You're gonna throw
Here's
this
a
in there.
step grandpa.
From 20 years ago,
And I'm only 16.
And you gonna smear me with that?
Right, with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That was crazy. And again, I mean, you're here, and I just want to let you know that article was, yes, it was better than the original. You know what I'm saying? And I liked and I told Cousin Tracy this when I was reading it, like how you broke down every point he made.
Yes.
You had something to say about that point and show how ridiculous some of those points were that he was making. You know what I'm saying?
And if you notice, since the second one, when I put some headlines up, I'm like, look at this. And there go the days. 3 headlines in 4 days. This is a campaign. The campaign stopped.
Yep.
And now the press is very positive.
Right, yeah.
And it should be, because the boy just represented United States of America.
He just won gold medal.
They got a real
for the
shot
USA. Like,
going down to Nikes, they got a shot at winning
you know
that.
what I'm saying? Yeah.
You got 2 guys that'll probably touch NBA courts on that team.
Right.
You got another, if you go back 3 years, maybe 13, 15 kids who play Division I basketball coming out of that. Why are we not celebrating this, man? If it was St. Anthony's and this was 1990,
That's how I talked about that.
we would just, everybody be talking about how good Hurley is. And them kids was coming from New York City.
Right, exactly.
Cross state
lines.
lines.
And was no big deal.
No big
deal. You know what I'm saying? Now, what you say? As soon as we get a couple kids.
Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
You know what I'm saying? And now it's a problem all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we definitely talk about
it felt like the intent of the article was to put parents in a position where they couldn't possibly make similar decisions.
Right.
They wanted to just smear Camden so bad
So
that if it was some good 8th or 9th graders, they would be like, well,
I'm not going to take, I'm not going to say we're going to send them to our local, our home school.
Right, or somewhere else.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
is basketball the only sport you discuss, or do you?
Well, Well, I like to discuss and talk about things that I'm really intimately familiar with. I'm doing I'd say a lot more girls because I wasn't doing any girls like 5 years ago.
There we
And
go with the bull. We had this time.
Well, he said he's
Title
starting now,
IX
though.
meant nothing.
He said he's
because we
starting now, though, cuz. He said he's starting now.
I know,
He said he's
just
starting
messing
now.
I had some of my really good friends call me out on it.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, I'm a one-man band. You know, it ain't like I got a staff of
staff,
people
right.
I can send out there. But it's a few girls, and one of my favorite young girls, she was number 2 behind Paige Bucher when they came out. She's since transferred to LSU. She's an absolute star. Angel Reese down out of Baltimore. She's at LSU. And little Hannah Hidalgo
From Paul Six,
right?
Yep.
is just as good as DJ
Yeah, she's good.
on the girls' side.
Yeah.
She's that talented. She's also USA basketball.
Yes,
They're also
yes,
winning.
yep.
So, and I have a couple of other girls. There's Maeve McErlane. She's going to be a freshman at DePaul.
Okay.
I've spent some time with her, did some things with her. And Ava Shiola, she's out of Pennsbury, and her father's a friend of mine, and she's going down to Maryland. So I'm becoming a little bit more familiar and adept with the girls. A little bit of football here and there. Now, that's with the writing and stuff. Football-wise, I probably spent more time with student athletes on the football side in Camden than basketball because of my relationship with Preston Brown.
Okay.
I was just really
Preston.
so
He did.
impressed with the way he just was dominating. And so he had some kids. He said, hey, man, I think I got some kids.
Right, gotcha.
So Fidel Diggs and another, I forget, oh, man, I don't want to forget his name. It'll come to me. He's at Temple with Preston.
Okay.
It was about 4 of them. So we went in and maybe spent 5 or 6 weeks, again, making sure these guys understand the SATs and all of that.
Gotcha.
And I didn't know the kids. So I'm talking to them. I'm like, so what you going to do? You think about, well, I'm already committed to Texas A&M. Like, oh, you play for real.
Yeah, you like you ain't playing.
So now I know who you are. But yeah. So a little bit of football.
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
That's definitely what's up.
So, keep doing what you're doing. Like,
Yeah, definitely needed. As a coach, you know what I'm saying? This is definitely needed. Sometimes, like you said, all hands on deck for some kids. So you need coaches, you need
the village. It really
village,
takes a village.
you know what I'm
It really
saying? People
takes a
like
village.
Dell to help out.
I'm telling you guys,
everything.
we're talking about all state level players with Big Ten, SEC interests who struggle
Right now.
to meet eligibility requirements coming out of these public schools.
Right.
And that
And it's not. Let's be clear, because it's not that the public schools don't offer what they need. It's the fact that these kids don't know what they offer, and they don't know how to cross their T's and dot their I's. So this class, you take this. This means absolutely nothing. But you need to take this class because it aligns with this and this. And I think they need more of that explanation. Like, stop taking this, and this, because this only carries 1 point.
Outside of those core classes.
Right. This only carries 1 point. You
classes.
need, like,
Right.
these other classes. And I think it needs to be more of a breakdown. But I don't know how much more you can break it down into a common denominator. And the reason why I say that is because I know the coaches have been having parent meetings and the parents don't show up. I know that they've been trying to break it down for them. It's just I don't know where to meet them at.
where I think I've been able to have some success with the young men in particular, because to be honest, the girls handle their business. Most of the girls, that's not an issue.
Right,
the grades are
right.
good. They going to college.
Yeah.
The guys. Okay, so you're a very, very talented 14, 15, 16-year-old boy. Let's just keep it real. Somebody's picking you up. They taking you to practice. They buying you something to eat. If you say on the basketball side, you might have 75 pair of sneakers in your house. Nobody tells you no.
Right.
They take, you miss practice, they ask you, you just say anything, they accept it. So it's hard for guys, adult males who have that kind of relationship with the kids to come in and just be like, motherfucker, you need to do your schoolwork.
Right.
So understanding that, there's never been anyone that's ever seen a picture of me rebounding for a kid, running around, chasing a kid at a track,
Right,
lifting weights. That's
Gotcha.
not my lane.
Right,
I'm not,
gotcha,
you know,
gotcha.
what's your GPA?
Right.
Man, this some bullshit.
Right.
Right. And they can take it from me.
Right.
Because, you know, that's the relationship
That's
we
right.
have.
I
We
got
don't have the you graded basketball
right.
relationship.
Nah.
And it really, when they turn 22, 23 and they're not playing no more, and then, you know, the relationship dynamic changes, that's when it becomes really obvious that and I'm starting to get, my guys are having kids going into high school now, you know, and they're like, you got to get with them.
Right.
You got them. You know, whatever he say, you know, that's what it is. We're not going back and forth with it.
Right.
So I really appreciate that. And that's what I had with Tracy. I never had to persuade to trade. This is what he has to do. Taquan, this is what you have to do. Taquan's one of the guys, I love him to death. He's going to push the limit.
Always did.
You got to make it clear to him. Son, you about to fuck this up.
Right.
You know, then he'll catch it because he's bright.
Right.
He understands.
Or you hit him with it, guess what? I don't give a shit. Because I got a job and a degree, and I'm good.
I'm good.
You got to figure out what you going to do.
Right.
You know, every now and then I had to hit my kids with that. You know, I don't give a fuck.
You got to figure it out.
I'm good. I paycheck ain't to me. I figure you got to figure it out. Yeah. But, you know.
That's definitely what's up. So, future plans, like, you know, I'm sure you're going to continue to do what you do, but
I actually had a meeting with Wasim and the mayor and their staff maybe 3 weeks ago, and we're trying to come up with a more or less independent advisory council for the mayor to help youth transition from high school to adulthood. Now, that's a broad basket because some people just gonna want to get a job, you know. Some people gonna want to go to trade school. Some might play sports, and they may need some help with that. So I'm fortunate enough that, you know, Vic will listen if I propose that to him. So he set that meeting up with his staff, and it was really wonderful. So that is coming. It will be in effect this school year, and we will be snatching kids that indicate, and parents that indicate that they really are concerned about that transition. You know, and it doesn't matter if you want to just get a job, if you want to go to trade school, you want to go to college, whatever it is you want to do, we'll try to figure it out and help you make that transition.
No wonder y'all get along so well together. Y'all all about the kids. You know what I'm saying? And it comes from a genuine spot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he tried to convince me that the community needs more of me.
Yes.
And I told him they done dogged me, so we ain't getting no more of me.
They will wear you out. And you just gotta, you know.
And they never think, like they don't never say thank you.
They don't say it, but they are thankful.
Right.
They don't say
They don't say
They don't, but.
I couldn't even get in the game this year.
Yeah.
And everybody want to say that was false news. As I'm standing outside the door, they're going to say that never happened, Tracy.
I ain't going to tell you.
Tracy, that never happened.
That never happened
You
to you.
always can get in. I was outside. I was outside. What you mean?
Well, y'all got that. I mean, this the last year. I anticipate it will be even more demand this year coming off of USA. And they could win the EYBL. If they win that, you know, I think we'll all be watching a lot of live streams because that little gym just can't. It can't hold it.
Listen.
At all.
Woodrow Wilson. I see you on the other side. Listen, no, I'm joking.
Cause you crazy. That's what's up. Got any shout outs, anything you want to send out before we get out of here?
Nah, I'm just I want to say that, you know, since I've been in Camden, I've become, I'd say, really close from a professional perspective with Barclay, Denny, Vic, Wasim, Pitts. Those are guys, we're all about the same age. You know, we all have the same kind of interest and focus. And because of that, I kind of been able to move around in Camden and do the things I wanted to do. I think Tracy, I'm glad she brought it up. There have been times where people say, you know, don't mess with Del, and that's cool. That's cool. I won't touch your kids. And I won't. But them two over there, they my kids. They just play with you, man. He was my kid first. And I tell the kid, you know what? when the season starts, dog, I'm gonna fall back
Right,
because
right.
I don't want him to hold your minutes and play with you because he's mad at me.
Because you're mad at me. You know
As soon as the season over, we back on.
We back on. We back on. That's what's up. Well, I definitely appreciate you for sliding through. You know what I'm saying? You know, this was good. You know what I'm saying? I feel your energy. You know what I'm saying? And I love it. I love what you're doing. Continue what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? I just want to say thank you again, cousin, because you know, without no cousin Tracy, there is no birdcage. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because when we do these episodes, like episode 61, I'm still just go back to
when it all started.
Episode 1, episode 2 when you was a guest, episode 3 I think when I had to make you my co-host. You know what I'm saying? And I just enjoy doing what we do. You know what I'm saying? Bringing people on like Del. You know what I'm saying? Giving them a platform to explain why they do what they do, and you know what I'm saying, and just show the love, because we all are about the kids. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I coach 3 different sports. You know what I'm saying? I teach. I've been teaching for 28 years. So you already know what you do for the youth. You know what I'm saying? And now to hear your story and what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know you was working with Woodley and things like that. But just to hear that, and you know what I'm saying?
And Brewer.
All the kids that you mentioned.
Yeah.
You know what I'm just saying? I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? So that's great stuff right there. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to give a shout out to you guys for making a difference. You know what I'm saying? And just keep pushing.
Hopefully I can be on number 161, man.
Sound good to me.
I like y'all, man. I like y'all.
Definitely sound good to me.
Of course, I'm up. Much love to Del. Like I said, we built a relationship based around my grandson. I guess he's known as. I know Del's a good dude. I had to bring this opportunity, bring him on because he's hot topic right now. He keep rebutting everything that's being printed,
which is needed.
Keep he's doing the rebuttals on what's needed.
You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate him. I appreciate anybody that's about the kids. You know what I mean? Of course, cuz I thank you for having me on. It's always been a pleasure. Listen up. Big announcement just made nationally. The 1-800 suicide hotline number has been changed to 3 numbers. Today was the day it went live. Nice. The 10-digit number, for those that follow Daylight, the 10-digit number will still be utilized. You can use it, but they just simplified it by giving you the 3-digit number. In the event of a crisis, it's easier just to dial 3 digits worth versus 10. Definitely. So again, the number is going to be posted. It went live today. Remember, folks, clean mind, clean thoughts, and like I always say, be well.
Definitely. And Del, before we get out of here, just let the people know where they can find your blog at, and you personally. Are you doing any social media? I know you're on Twitter.
Okay. I'm on Twitter. Facebook is where I like to start all the stuff because I'm really trying to talk to parents for the most part. I don't just go up to kids, unless there is no parent. Right, I really want to go through the parents. I don't go through the coaches. That causes
I got you.
problems.
Now on Facebook, you just your name
DELGRECO Wilson. But there is a Black Cager Facebook page. On Instagram, it's Black Cager Press. That's mostly videos and pictures. What you can do on Instagram. That's what we do over there. On Twitter, it's DELGRECO Wilson. The blog is DELGRECOWilson.com, and when we do a lot of live streaming. We live stream a bunch of Philadelphia Public and Catholic League games last year. We'll probably do some in South Jersey this year. That's BlackCagerTV.com.
That's what's up. Well, episode 61 in the books. On that note, I'm Sexuayo, a.k.a. Coach Bird. I'm the host of the BYRDCAGE Show, and we'll talk to you soon.
It was a stone groove, my man.